Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to an all-new edition of War Week Radio's afternoon chat. Happy Friday, everybody. We were scheduled to be joined by heavyweight Brian Dancler on today's episode, but something came up. He had to back out at the last second, so we're going to be doing this once again all by my lonesome, okay, which is very cool. It's all right. I'm used to talking, so that's all right. But guys, we've got a lot to discuss on this Friday afternoon. Guys, on this week's edition, we're going to be talking about Chris Colbert's newfound popularity. And no, it's not because he's fighting King Tug Mayumbar this Saturday night on Showtime. It's because of, well, his now viral, now taken down, now censored video interview on FightHype.com, and it was conducted by Boxing Voices Nestor Gibbs while they were in the gym with Danny Garcia earlier this week, right? A couple days ago, Chris Colbert was interviewed by Nestor Gibbs of the Boxing Voice, in which he shared his honest opinion, but subjective opinion on Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 3 coming up in just 3 short weeks. Since then, the viral and controversial video has been now taken down off of the Fight Hype channel on YouTube, but not before it went viral and was the talk of the boxing community for at least 48 hours, right? Yeah, Chris Colbert, he just went off. He shared his honest opinion and his prediction on the upcoming fight. He also gave his opinion about the effectiveness of replacing Mark Breland with new trainer Malik Scott. Well, he torched Wilder's excuses and accusations, his suit, the firing of Breland, Glovegate, pretty much everything, right? So the big question right now that everyone's talking about, well, who had it taken down? That seems to be the big mystery, guys. Well, yeah, I know for a fact 100% who had it taken down, guys. Now, obviously, I'm not going to reveal who gave me this information. I can't do that as a journalist, but I will tell you it is 100% that Team Wilder and PBC had it taken down. And their reasoning for it was they felt it was a detriment to the promotion of Wilder, a very expensive event like Wilder versus Fury 3, Fury versus Wilder 3, however you want to word that. So yeah, guys, there's no debate about this. Team Wilder and PBC requested that Ben Thompson and Fight Hype take down the video. That's not a mystery. What I want to know is, why do Wilder fans, why do they have such a hard time accepting that Team Wilder and PBC requested this video get taken down? I've heard a lot of fans defending Team Wilder and PBC for this request and for this action. Why? Who cares? What difference does it make? Who cares? Look, I'll tell you the reason why they did this. And once again, they felt it was a detriment to the promotion, right? They felt it was a detriment to do I agree with that? Absolutely not. If anything, well, people are buzzing about the third fight now more than ever, right? What's the big deal? And also, as a very positive byproduct of this, now everyone seems to be interested in the Showtime broadcast this Saturday, not only for the replay of Tank versus Mario Varrios on Showtime, but Chris Colbert. Boy, he has a very strong polarized opinion of him now. He gained a ton of new fans also gained a ton of new detractors. Boy, Team Wilder and their fans, they cannot stand Chris Colbert now. They consider him to be, well, kind of an enemy, which makes absolutely zero sense whatsoever. Guys, it's a boxing match. But to Wilder's fans, for some strange reason, as well as Deontay Wilder, this is more than just a heavyweight fight. This is a social and civil war, which is absolutely insane, in my opinion. Guys, this is nothing more than a prize fight. This does not have any great implications socially or racially. Get over it. Like, this is just a fight, guys. In my opinion, it's gotten to the point of lunacy for not only Wilder's fans, but Deontay Wilder himself. And I'm not going to go into this, any specific information, but guys, from what I've learned, and it's very unsettling stuff, in my opinion, this fight should be canceled. In my opinion, Deontay Wilder is not mentally fit to compete in the ring at this time. It's disturbing stuff, guys, and I cannot get into it. But trust me when I tell you, it's shocking. In my opinion, this fight should be canceled. Deontay Wilder is not mentally fit to compete in the ring at this time. If he's getting triggered by video or any kind of questioning from the mainstream media, if he can't even handle being in the same room as Tyson Fury, he really has no business being in the ring, competing at this time. In my opinion, he shouldn't be allowed to compete until he undergoes a psych evaluation. That's my opinion, guys. And I'm not going to go into it any further than that. But, guys, I hear a lot of fans talking about censorship and the freedom of speech and all of that noise. Guys, look, Lee Cleveland, editor of FightSaga, I was going to write a follow-up story because I had reported when the video first hit, I made an article on thefightsaga.com showcasing the video and citing quotes. It's still up. You can go see it. And someone sent me a message. One of our readers said, hey, do you know the video is no longer there? Well, that's when I started inquiring about all of this. And I found out that, yeah, it was 100% Team Wilder as well as PBC. That's not a mystery, guys. And I found out why. And Fight Hype complied. They said, yeah, sorry, guys, no problem. And a lot of fans seem to take exception to that. Oh, what do? You should have stood your ground. No. Guys, we're reporting on a sport, a pastime. This isn't Watergate. We're not covering crooked politicians. This is entertainment. Our job is to report the news, report the fights, report these fighters, and help promote the upcoming events, get fans excited, get fans talking about it. Okay, we're not covering an election. We're not covering Congress. We're not on Capitol Hill. This isn't anything that's going to affect our daily lives. This is just a pastime, guys. And if they want to cooperate, because this is how they make their money, Fight Hype. This is how FightSaga makes our money. We report and we promote these events. Our job is to try and interpret what things happen because we're in the business to help make sense of why certain things happen and why certain things don't happen. To help fans have a greater understanding. We're not here to do investigative journalism to expose some kind of crooked politician. And so Fight Hype, if they don't want to run the risk of having their access being denied to interview all of the PBC stable of fighters, well, more power to them, because that's how they make their money. Remember, guys, this is a sport. And if they choose to comply, do I agree with it? No, because I didn't see anything wrong. I don't think they did anything wrong. And to be honest with you, this was not a detriment to the promotion. It was not a detriment. If anything, more people are talking about this rematch more than ever. And more people are getting excited for the fight in just 3 weeks. But that was their decision, and I respect their decision. Ben Thompson's a smart guy, and he makes his living off of having access to all of these fighters and all of these events. So if he didn't want to run the risk of having that denied or taken away, I can't blame him. That's how he pays his bills. When I spoke to Lee Cleveland about writing the follow-up, he said, yeah, I don't know, Joseph. This might not be a good idea if they think this is a detriment to the promotion. Then just respect it and move on. There are a lot more things to talk about and cover. And guys, that's it. That's all it is. Once again, guys, we are not investigative journalists who are trying to come up with this expose for crooked politicians. This is nothing serious. This is entertainment. This is a pastime. And we're trying to provide a service for the fans as well as the pastime that we choose to love begrudgingly at times. But guys, so it's no mystery, guys. I know 100% that Team Wilder and PBC had the Sucka Chris Colbert video taken down. That's not a mystery. That's not up for debate. Sorry, Wilder fans. And what I want to know is, why do you even care? Why do you care to defend this? Oh, well, you don't know. Hey, show proof of this. Well, dude, I already know that, and I can't provide proof because I'm not gonna expose my sources. Okay? I'm not gonna do that. But trust me when I tell you, I do know this for a fact, that this is 100%. Okay? Let that be the end of it. Now, Tyson Fury, this guy is, well, he's working hard. He's actually sparring. And he's sparring a lot of big men to prepare for Deontay Wilder, as he should. And it seems that he's taken this fight as seriously as he should. Once again, there are no guarantees in the ring, guys. Anything can and often does happen in the squared circle, in the theater of the unexpected, especially in the heavyweight division, right? Both men are preparing for battle. But in my opinion, like I said, I think this fight should be canceled or postponed until Deontay Wilder has a full psych evaluation. Guys, he is not of sound mind right now. And I'm not going to go into it because, once again, I'm not going to expose or discuss any of this delicate information that I'm privy to. But trust me when I tell you guys, this is a big deal. And in my opinion, this is getting a little bit out of hand. When asked about the video, when asked about Wilder's comments in the latest interview with Tyson Fury and a British journalist, he said, yeah, he cannot. Tyson Fury said, yes, Deontay Wilder for some reason cannot put what happened in the rematch behind him. He's carrying it around like a sack of stones, and it's not healthy for him. Trust me, I know what that's all about. I suffer from depression, but when you have to get in the ring, you have to let it go. And in my opinion, Deontay Wilder can't let it go, end quote. And I wholeheartedly agree with him. He can't seem to let this go. He can't seem to take any criticism. And he needs that 100% 24/7 positive mental reinforcement. Guys, that's not good. What's going to happen when he's in the center of the ring with Tyson Fury and he starts getting reminded of what happened in the last fight? Guys, this isn't good. In my opinion, he needs a psych eval. And once again, I can't get into the reasons why. I know this, and I feel this is necessary. And it's quite alarming. It's shocking. And you guys would be freaked out if you found out. It's disturbing. He needs a psych evaluation. before being licensed to fight. Right? And guys, in my opinion, they should cancel any public press events leading up to this, well, very polarized event where the public is invited or allowed to attend. From what I've been told, they're planning on having the weigh-in outdoors on the grounds of the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. In my opinion, unless they have a ton of security on hand, they should have it closed to the public. Because once again, like I stated earlier in the show, for some stupid, idiotic reason, this is turned into a race war, a somewhat of a civil war. Guys, this is just a prize fight. This does not have any other more serious social implications. It's Tyson Fury taking on Deontay Wilder. They do not represent specific demographics of society. That's stupid. That's an ignorant way of thinking. If that's why you attach yourself to a specific fighter, well, more power to you, but that's not why he fights. Guys, quit living in fantasy land. This is just a prize fight. This is just a heavyweight fight. Guys, this is just a heavyweight prize fight. This is just a sport. It's not a race war, okay? Well, let's hope that the rest of this event goes off without a hitch and no one gets hurt and this doesn't turn violent. I have a sick, disturbing feeling that it may, if it's allowed to be open to the public. The final press conference, the media workouts, the weigh-in especially. Because fans on either side, especially on Wilder's delusional cult following, they have absolutely lost their marbles. So that's all I'm going to say about that, guys. So switching gears, Tank Davis. Well, it looks like they're already planning on potentially putting together a fight with Golden Boy Promotions, planning for a possible 2-fight deal between Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia for fall and spring of 2022, right? And why is that? Didn't Floyd Mayweather just say that, hey, we're going to keep everything in-house? It's about working smarter, not harder? Yeah. Well, guys, have you heard anything about the pay-per-view numbers yet? It's been almost a week since the event. Have you guys heard anything about the pay-per-view numbers? No? Well, guys, that's not a good indication, right? Hey, there's my brother Corey. How you doing, man? Oh, hold on real quick. Hold on. I'm going to drop the link down here just in case my brother Corey wants to join me on this episode. Hold on real quick. All right, let me do this. Hope you have your headphones on, my man. Would love to have some company today. Thank you for joining us, Corey. Hope you're doing well, my friend. It's been a minute. So I tell you what, but guys, this is an intriguing fight. So why would they be, well, working with Golden Boy Promotions in an event in which, well, both men compete on opposite rival platforms, right? Why would they be doing this? Well, because two things, and once again, let me read, and I just wrote an article with basically from Leonard Ellerby because of the, well, controversy and uproar that Floyd created with what he said. And I'm going to repeat everything that Floyd said, right? Post-fight, in the post-fight press conference that, well, put everyone in an uproar, right? Let me read these quotes, and then we're going to get my brother Correa on the line. It's going to be nice to share the air with him. It's been a minute. But I'm going to read my quotes, doing my best Floyd impression. He said, quote, our thing is we work smarter, not harder. We keep everything in-house. Mayweather Promotions, PBC, we're all one family. I mean, we're not going to go nowhere to make another company great. So we've got plenty of fighters at 140, 135, and 130. We're going to continue to fight the fighters that we got to fight. Well, that put everyone interpreted that as a blatant attempt to avoid the biggest and baddest at super featherweight, lightweight, and junior welterweight, or anyone who currently competes for a rival promotion or platform. Well, after hearing a ton of criticism on social media, Leonard Ellerby said this, quote, let me be clear. Let me clear this narrative up before it gets out of hand. We will make the biggest and best fights for Tank and the fans, period. As evidence when I tried to make the Ryan Garcia fight with Golden Boy in March before we made Barrios. The fights have to make sense to us, though, end quote. Yes, Leonard, and they also have to make sense to the fans. I'll tell you what, let's get the opinion of my brother, Mr. Correa Bradshaw. Mr. IOTBA, you are live on the air, brother. Welcome back to War Week Radio. How you doing, my friend?
Man, shout out to everybody on here from that 214 to across the pond. Shout out to my guy, Joseph Herron. Shout out to War Week Radio. Shout out to Coach Gogi. And shout out to everybody else who contribute on this channel. Shout out to FightSaga.com, too. What's popping, man?
Well, I tell you what, man. I'm going to give you a couple topics, right? And once again, we just started this show off, and I'm sure you heard a little bit of it, the tail end of it. We were talking about, well, the whole Chris Colbert video.
Oh, no, I heard
the
all
mystery.
of it.
Oh, you heard all of it. So you know that I'm privy to this information, and there is no mystery of who took this down. I know for a fact, and I've been told the reasons why. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with what happened?
Can you go over that again? Because I missed.
Yes, of course, sir. Of course. Yeah. Look, and what I can't understand, why are Haymanites and Wilderettes so quick to dismiss the idea that Team Wilder and PBC contacted Ben Thompson at Fight Hype and requested that he take down the video, giving the reason that it was a detriment to the promotion of Fury versus Wilder 3. I don't agree with it, but I understand why Ben Thompson decided to take it down and appease the PBC, right? And once again, they make their living off of having access to all of these fighters. So I understand why Ben made the proper business decision and decided not to argue and appease the PBC, right? What are your thoughts, though, on this entire, video game?
No, I don't. Look, shout out to Ben from Fight Hype. That's my guy. You know, Ben is my guy from Fight Hype. You know, I think they have one of the best boxing platforms from the 214 to across the pond, if not the best. But, you know, I think it's absolutely absurd for him to have taken that video down, because this is my thing right here. These fighters out here, they need some way that they can reach out to all the fans around the world to hear them. That's how we get to know these fighters. And with Fight Hype being one of the biggest platforms out there, for being to appease to Deontay Wilder of PBC and take this name, he deserved criticism too. And that's my guy. I got nothing but the utmost respect for him. But when you got up-and-coming fighters like Chris Colbert and other fighters from the 214 to across the pond, when they dream about getting on platforms like Fight Hype, Fight Hub, the Boxing Voice, and different platforms like that, so they can help accelerate their career. And this guy spoke nothing but gold. Like, this guy showed, this guy showed everyone from the 214 to across the pond how sharp he was, not only as a human being, but as a boxing commentator when given an opinion. He showed that he was sharp as they come. And I want everybody to look at the narrative on Deontay Wilder. You know, he's so for his black people. I keep saying that, right? But he fired the black man without no proof of saying he put something in his water. He got this black dude video taken down off of Fight Hype that's gonna help his career.
Well, I don't want to talk about the race issue too much, brother, because in my opinion, Corey, it's gotten way out of hand.
I know, and it's on PBC and Deontay Wilder's side. It's coming. No, they look, Joseph. I'm not with the race stuff either.
I know you're not.
But we have to call it like we see it. It seemed like this guy, this ain't towards nobody else but black people, because Deontay Wilder is detrimental to black people and black people only. He fired Mark Breland. He had this black fighter and Chris Colbert video down because he was butthurt. I asked everybody on here from the 2142 across the pond. I've seen a lot of white guys say stuff about Deontay Wilder. I've seen a lot of Latino guys say stuff about Deontay Wilder. Did we hear Deontay Wilder call Ben from Fight Hype and ask him to take their videos down? Oh, but when the black guy who telling the truth, I don't know if y'all know how I say truth, that's TRUF about him, oh, it get took down. I'm disgusted with Deontay Wilder. I do not like that guy with nothing in me, Joseph. Like he is a disgrace to the sport of boxing.
You know what? I hear you, brother. In my opinion, he's become a cancer to the sport. And once again, this supersedes race, guys. This has nothing to do with race. And if you call me a hater, well, that's because you're not capable of critical thinking. And here's from Scalebender, who tunes in. He says, from Al Heyman, I'm going to need to erase whatever IOTB says right after this podcast. Thank you for your cooperation. Don't shoot the messenger. God bless you, brother. Look, guys. Look, I understand wholeheartedly. I do. I understand wholeheartedly, guys, why Ben did this. This is how he makes his money. This is how he earns his living, on having access to these fighters. And yes, you're absolutely right, Corey. He does provide a service to Al Heyman's entire stable of fighters. Right? He does. But this is how Ben Thompson makes his money. Respect his decision. I don't agree with it. Not at all. Okay? And I think you're absolutely right. And I think things have gotten way out of hand. In my opinion, and I was just talking about this, and I'm not going to get into this, and Corey, it goes much deeper than this. Okay? And I cannot disclose the information that I'm privy to, but in my opinion, brother, Deontay Wilder needs a psych evaluation before he's allowed to compete in the ring. He's not well. Okay?
I agree.
Dude, what do you want, a bus or something, man?
I agree.
There's all that noise in the background. You want a bus or something, brother?
Oh, no. No, I ain't on no damn bus.
Dude, are you on your Learjet? No, it's fine now, Corey, as you were, my friend.
No, I'm in my vehicle.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for joining us en route, my friend.
No, this is right
dude,
here,
so what do you think I just said? Okay, and once again, I'll tell you off the air, Corey, but I can't let fans privy to this, okay? This is delicate information. And in my opinion, it's gotten absurd. It's gotten out of hand. In my opinion, Wilder needs a psych evaluation before he's able to compete in the ring. Your thoughts?
Oh, no. I'm
Corey, are you still there, sir?
And let's be honest. We've been hit. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
You can't hear me?
Yes, loud and clearly. Mr. IOTBA driving to Fight Hype headquarters. Go ahead, sir.
Me and you, we've been hitting them for
a long time. Are you there, sir?
Joseph.
Okay. He's going to reconnect. Apparently, we're having connection difficulties, guys. My apologies. We'll try to get Mr. IOTBA back on the air. But I tell you what, man, we've got a lot more to discuss. Let's move on, guys, and we'll attempt to get finish this discussion with Correa as soon as he gets back on. But let's go back to Tank fighting Ryan Garcia. Why is he fighting Ryan Garcia? Well, one, among the biggest attractions at 135 pounds, even at 140 or 130. Oh, I can't help reading those comments. Scale Bender, you're making me laugh this afternoon. Thank you, brother. He says this. That deserves a big screen right there. Joe, you got to give him the access test for competency. He's going to stare at you with his headphones on. Goodness gracious. Like I said, guys, he seems to be very mentally fragile at this time. And it's not fit for the hard competition of prize fighting. In my opinion, Nevada State Athletic Commission needs to have him undergo a psych eval before he gets his license and he can compete in the ring, in my opinion. Guys, because mental health is arguably more important than physical health when you actually try and compete in the ring. Oh, I know you're not Scale Bender. You're providing entertainment to this show. Thank you, brother. You're the comic relief. Thank you, my friend. But I tell you what, guys. Two reasons why Tank more than likely will be fighting Ryan Garcia. And once again, this is a potentially 2-fight deal. The first event this fall will be on Showtime pay-per-view between Tank and Ryan Garcia. The second one in the spring will be potentially on DAZN. 2 fights on 2 different platforms, right? From what I'm hearing, that's the deal they're trying to agree upon. And there are 2 reasons why. One, well, he's the potentially biggest money matchup that Tank Davis can make in either 30, 35, or 40-pound weight divisions. There isn't a matchup that would be more attractive to a wide mainstream and casual audience, the ones that are actually purchasing these events, right? And also, well, it's the easiest fight, in my opinion, for Tank Davis among the top fighters in the division. Oh, I just saw Correa come up, and then he disappeared. Correa, join the show again, my friend. We'll be looking for Correa to come back on. But that's the reason why, guys, because there's a reason why you haven't heard any figures being reported from this past Saturday night pay-per-view. Arguably, guys, in my opinion, it didn't do the numbers that they were hoping that it did, right? And Floyd knows this. Floyd already knows that quality of opposition matters, right? Quality of opposition matters. If you're going to be charging $75 for a pay-per-view, quality of opposition matters. And yes, it turned out to be a great fight, one of the best fights of the year. But fans didn't know this before the fight happened. They looked at this and they said, wait, who the hell is Mario Barrios? And of course, all diehards understood and knew who the San Antonio fighter was. Oh, well, here's Scalebender. Scalebender, welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Well, God bless you, brother. Thank you for tuning in. What would you like to talk about at this time?
How about interest rates? No, I'm just kidding. No, Joe, I don't know where the hell IOTBA is at, but if he's on the road, StreamYard's probably stomping on his cell phone battery like it does mine. Vicious. Yeah, so I was a little behind at it. I'm gonna backtrack you just for a second though, because you, me, and IOTBA were on a show late at night about shit just after the second fight when this prelim thing came out. This is a long time ago. This is the only time I've spoken to you before this.
Oh, this was on Mr. IOTBA's platform, wasn't it? Yeah, I think I do
Yeah,
remember
it was
that.
late.
Yeah,
I remember it was cold out. I was outside.
I do
We were just
remember
talking
that.
about how bizarre the whole thing was. Anyway, just the excuses, and so look, man. I'll say this about I was behind. I was working all day yesterday, so I had to get on IOT. IOTB was fucking pissed about the whole thing last night, and I didn't even know what this kid had said or who had said what or what. I was so he filled me in, but he was on fifth gear already, so he was pissed off about it. But so I went and watched what this kid said. What's this kid said? I'm gonna call him Chris, right? This kid Chris, right?
Yeah,
I don't see.
130-pound WBA interim title holder, whatever the hell that means,
Yeah.
in the super featherweight division. Chris Colbert, he's competing this Saturday against King Tug in the main event.
Yeah. So I listened to what he said, and listen, it's his opinion.
That's right.
It happens to be the opinion of. I mean, I can't get blown away by it. It's exactly what me, and IOTBA were saying the day after this Mark Breland accusation came out, which was
that's absolutely right. Yep.
And I mean, if you really took a shot of honesty and gave it to any fighter that you could find, I can't imagine one that's going to sit there. If you're absolutely just supporting Deontay Wilder to the end, which is probably not what he needs right now, like he doesn't need a yes man.
Yep.
If you're going to be honest and still be a yes man, you'd just say no comment.
That's right.
If you're going to be honest, though, you'd say exactly what this kid said. He didn't say anything that far out of fucking whack, right? This goes back to like stoicism or something. Like this is stuff that Socrates and them figured out.
That's my point. Look, it's serious, and once again, I can't go into this, but Scalebender, this gets even worse than you probably could imagine.
No, I could probably imagine. Imagine.
Well, let me just say that Wilder's a hothead, and he's very irrational at times, and in my opinion, he needs to undergo a full psych evaluation before he's ever allowed to enter the ring. Just like your avatar displays. Look at his face.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, I mean, dude, I'm sorry, but the cheese has officially slid off the cracker.
Hey, what do you mean cracker?
Hey. No, well, are you trying to say that I was making an intentional pun? How dare you?
Hard ER. That was a hard ER. Yeah, man. Listen, you can rap, but there's a lot of time in between fights. All right. It's not on a set schedule. So it gives a lot of time in between these fights. And what that leads to is you can only talk about the matchup so much before it devolves into fill in the blank. The race and the fucking this and that. So look, and what he said and what he said and what he said. Half of these people that are saying things, you're sticking a camera in front of their face. I'm not talking about this fight hype and this Chris kid. I'm just talking about, this is more like an exhibition setup with this sport here. This is like still stuck 200 years ago where you're traveling the country on no particular schedule. You understand? So when you stick a microphone in somebody's face, if Floyd says this, or if Gervonta Davis says that, or if Teofimo's father says that, ultimately, the people that are really making decisions are not the ones that are on tape, that are in quotes. They're talking like, they're closer than everybody else is, but they're not. They have no fucking authority. They have no decision making power at all. So, with that being said, let's talk about Deontay Wilder. Right? Look, he's the same Deontay Wilder as he was before you ever knew who he was. Right?
Well, okay. See. Let me tell you where that's not entirely correct. When I was doing PR work, for a lot of the Golden Boy fighters, and I was hosting a radio show about 10, 11 years ago, we regularly featured Deontay Wilder. And I used to interview him all of the time for the different periodicals that I used to write for over a decade ago. This is when he was right out of the Olympics. He was a much more humble and level-headed guy. But some people just don't handle success well.
He's an amateur. It's pressure.
Some people just don't handle success well. And unfortunately, he's created this kind of delusional atmosphere for himself in which anything that seems to contradict that, he just can't process it.
Right. We talked about this. It's human nature to move forward. You have no choice, right?
Yep.
You can either compartmentalize it. You can either take some kind of value from it, or you can basically spend effort into spinning and justifying and flailing around and
let me tell you, when Wilder and when our relationship broke down, this happened. Let me tell you, this happened around the Charlie Zelenoff incident. Do you remember that? When Charlie Z was making threats to him and somehow got his cell phone information, was sending him threats via cell phone. And so Deontay Wilder told him to, hey, meet at this gym in Vegas, or in LA rather. We'll get it on and I'm going to teach you a lesson, but you do not make threats. Okay. When that,
I recall.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I recall.
Okay. So when that incident happened, I interviewed him the following week on my show, and I basically chewed his ass live on the air in front of thousands of my listeners, right? And I said, Deontay, you know what, dude? That was a stupid thing that you just did. I said, what if this psycho actually pulled out a knife or pulled out a gun? You didn't have any security there. You didn't have any law enforcement there. This was an unsanctioned bout, right? This was just basically a glorified fight in the gym. This wasn't even sparring. What if this psycho hurt you? What if he pulled out a knife or a gun and killed you? What if he actually damaged you to the point where you couldn't compete in the ring? I said, look, dude, you're going to be the next American heavyweight champion. There's no doubt about it. So you have a greater responsibility to your fans and to the sport. So I need you to apologize right now, live on the air, to your fans, and promise them you won't do anything that stupid outside of the ring ever again. And dude, he was quiet and he apologized to the fans. He was just like, Joseph, I was just something I had to do as a man. I had to shut this guy up. I know I probably should have gone about it differently, but I felt it was something that I had to do. From that day forward, he never answered any one of my calls ever again. And I stopped doing PR work for him.
I believe it.
That's how, dude, he is incapable of handling any kind of constructive criticism. And I didn't say anything that was negative or bad. I'm just basically telling him how it is from someone who was a lot older than him, someone who had more experience in this business, and what kind of nutbags you can come across. And he was how old at the time? Probably about 22. 3, 4? No. He was about, I want to say he was 27.
Okay, 27 years old. 27.
Yeah.
Right. I'm 42 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
I played football in high school growing up. I played college football. I probably could have justifiably been shot a dozen fucking times in my life just for being a complete goon. All of us together, we were good kids, right? And we were good kids. I'm talking about into my 20s. I wouldn't say at 27, but here's the thing. The point is that it's part of growing up, and you have to learn a lesson. Sometimes, here's the thing. He took what you said, and that resonated with him on some level, obviously, right? So you felt that during the phone call. Or during the interview, right?
Yep.
Now, unfortunately, you have to hire professionals, and he has hired professionals. He has a manager who, we talked about this last time. I was asking you last time we spoke was like, don't you pull your fucking hair out with these guys? Like, you're a PR guy, right?
I used to. This is why I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's frustrating, right? It's frustrating.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea, brother.
It's gotta be.
No idea.
Right? Here's the thing. People are making fun of him for sitting up there at the press conference with his earphones on, right? And I'm saying, guys, what is the alternative? Look at the alternative. Now, do you want to? That's okay. Of course, it's bizarre, right? But do you want to? That to me is like what's the running back from Seahawks that used to just sit up there, Marshawn Lynch. Right? I thought it was corny. Yeah, I thought it was corny, right? I thought it was fucking corny.
Of course.
Just answer, you know what I mean? But hey, like the Denver Broncos offensive line never used to talk to the press. It is what it is. It's better than him screaming bomb squad and fucking going bizarre with a mask on.
Well, look, man, look. If I were still doing PR, and I talked about this on my show immediately following the press conference, I said if I were still doing PR work for Deontay Wilder, I would have done this. I would have had him address this immediately when he got the podium. I would have had him say, guys, look, I know all of you understand and recognize everything that I've said since the rematch. I completely double down on it. I believe it 100%, but it's never been investigated and more than likely will never be proven. I understand that. And this is the last I'm going to talk about it, the last I'm going to mention of it. And I will not be fielding any questions about it to any media members from this point forward. So if you ask me anything about how I feel and what happened, I'm going to say no comment or I'm not going to answer you. All I'm going to do is talk about and promote the upcoming fight on July 24th. Thank you very much. If he had just come out and said that,
correct,
no one would be talking about this anymore.
You ever had somebody try to explain something to you, and for whatever reason you just weren't hearing it? You knew better, you knew it all. And it's not surprising, right? It's a simple human being. Human beings are just simple animals, right? It's a carrot and a stick. He's acted the way he's acted, and he's been given carrots for it thus far. He's still one of the top whatever heavyweights in the fucking division, right? At the end of the day. Yep. Right.
He's still
why doesn't he use his jab?
Heavyweight in the world. Yep.
Why wouldn't he work on his jab? You're not telling me Breland hasn't tried to tell him he could jab. You're not telling me he hasn't been jabbed in the face by Klitschko. He gets it. You're tall. It's hard to get around a tall guy's jab, right? It's just a simple jab. What? You've been jabbed in the face a zillion times by Klitschko and then given the right hand. Why don't you understand that? He jabs. He uses his right hand. If that doesn't work, he clinches. It's boring, but you can't argue with the effectiveness, right?
Yep.
Okay, he didn't learn the lesson then. He didn't learn the lesson when Breland tried to explain it to him. I'm assuming Breland tried. Okay, Malik Scott's going to try to explain that to him. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, right? But thus far, what you're asking him to do, the problem is what you're asking him to do is be dishonest, right? And that comes off cringy too, right? When a guy gets up there and fakes like he's like, going to fucking kill somebody. You're not going to kill anybody. Just like this is. You can see when someone's trying to promote a fight and they're reaching, and that looks cringy. Screaming Bob Squad looks cringy. The headphones look cringy too, but I guess if just sit there and be quiet, right? So I guess what I'm saying is this. I'm not defending Deontay Wilder. I'm just saying this sport, the way it is, if he had a game every week, if he had a game next Sunday, there'd be no time to make to talk about evidence and autopsies and dents in your head and everything else, right? There's just no time. You have a game on a schedule next week. We're gonna do it again next Sunday. It's forgotten about,
Yep.
And it can and the fans can get racial in between that in those 6 days. They can start getting racial and they're dropping the N-bomb and everybody's fucking tribing up. But then Sunday there's another game, so we move on. We go forward. Move. Right?
Yep.
It's on a schedule. The fans are on a schedule. The sponsors are on a schedule. The players' unions are on a schedule. They have a union. They're on a schedule. Mm-hmm. The PEDs are on a schedule. There's no problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have these problems. There's these problems don't happen not because not because they're any more mature. You got to be a little bit like impulsive. Hang on one second for me, Joe. I'm gonna. You got to be a little bit impulsive. You got to. I'm not saying you have to be a little bit crazy, right? But to run to run around on a football field and like smash into other people, you know, as a defensive lineman, I can just speak for myself. Right? I'm a nice guy. I'm the nicest guy in the world, right? It's just it's a little bit of a crazy proposition. You know, I'm trying to say.
No. You're absolutely right. Look, prize fighters to do what they do, right? We'll put it this way: they're special people, right?
Yeah, I was special too,
football
right?
player and
people go, "What are you doing, Pete?"
Basically getting into a mini car accident every time you get blindsided or tackled. Yeah, you have to be special. And
it doesn't stop when you get off the field. Yeah, it doesn't stop when you get off the field. Yeah, you act like an asshole in the convenience store, and you tip all the chips over, and you jump up on a fucking bar, and you start smashing. You know, you just are doing something before you even know you're doing it, because the people around you are also doing it. Right?
Yep. So here's my question to you, though, brother Scalebender. Here's my question to you. If you're going to have the frame of mind where you can take punches on a regular basis, and you've got that physical durability where you can do it for 15 years thus far, which Deontay Wilder has done, you mean to tell me that your skin isn't thick enough where you get triggered by the first criticism that you hear? Like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, dude, honestly, I've never seen this ever.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
In my entire tenure in the sport of boxing, I have never seen a heavyweight this mentally fragile in my life. A guy who absolutely needs his ego stroked 24/7. I've never experienced this in my entire life. Some guys, look, I understand. Some guys just can't handle defeat. They can't. But I'm sorry. The way Wilder has handled this, his first professional loss, a devastating one-sided beatdown, he's making right now George Foreman after the Ali fight look like a prince.
Oliver McCall? No.
Look, honestly, and this is why I'm saying he needs a psych eval, because I can completely picture realistically Deontay Wilder having an Oliver McCall-like episode in the trilogy fight. I can see it.
Possible. How about if I told you? I've never been like, you know, how do I call it? I've never had as close a contact with boxers as you have, right? But how about if I told you you've probably been around at some time or another a bunch of fighters that are just as mentally on edge as Wilder was after that loss, and you didn't know it because they had a manager, right, that was working for them, but part of, listen, I work for you, man. You know, Deontay, I work for you, right? But part of that is, like, it's not just at the end of the day, I work for you. I mean, you could fire me, right? I mean, a trainer's not a coach, and that's the difference in an amateur situation. If I didn't listen to my coach, if I was acting the fool, my coach yanked me out the fucking field. I mean, there wasn't like a big discussion about it. He wasn't trying to talk, he would try to talk to me, but he'd scream, he'd yell at you, he'd fucking get a fire under your ass. He would try to communicate with you. But at the end of the day, the game goes on, the sport goes on.
Yep.
The game next week is the game next week. You get your fucking ass off the field, and I'll put somebody in that follows instructions.
That's right.
But in the pro game, it's a little different. See, it's a little bit different.
Yep. Well, look, man. This is, and I'll tell you when this has changed, and this is one of the reasons why I stopped doing that line of work. And this is one of the reasons why I customarily stop. I mean, I'll do exceptions for friends of mine. Like next week, we are getting Dion Nichols on the show as a favor to a very good friend of mine who does PR work. He is a former sparring partner of Deontay Wilder, and he's going to talk about Deontay and his fight. We're going to feature him next week on the show, right? But this is one of the main reasons why I stopped interviewing fighters every single week on a regular basis and stopped doing PR work. Because since the advent of social media, these guys, they want to have their ego stroked. They can't handle the truth. Like, they have such a hard time dealing with negativity and criticism that they even read online. And I'm like, brother, why are you glued to your cell phone in the gym then? Leave it in the car or leave it in your locker. You should see these guys sparring between rounds, and then they're, hey, man, what did someone post on my timeline? I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Remember Chad Johnson tweeting from the sideline of the Super Bowl about?
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it's, you know, what are you going to – it's the way it is. And listen, I don't have a Twitter account. No one gives a fuck what I think at every second of the day. You understand? If I'm gonna open my mouth, it's gonna take more than 130 characters. You understand? I can't just think out loud. You know what I mean? You don't want to hear what I'm fucking thinking. It's valid shit, but it's just not. It's so lost in the mix that no one can feed through any of this stuff. It's a bunch of noise now. All right, that's number one. Number two, here's what I'm saying. Here's one thing I'm trying to keep in mind, right? Just the same way, you know, listen, and you make a mistake or you get your ass kicked, you get your ass handed to you on the field, you know, you have to watch that in film the next week, right? And rewind it and play it and rewind it and play it and rewind it and play it. So it's like, I guess the equivalent of getting knocked out is like, you know, you just are raising up, getting your head as high up in the air as you can. You're freestyling out there. You're not playing your technique. And you get an offensive lineman gets up underneath your pads and takes you for a fucking ride about 15 fucking yards down the field. The crowd doesn't necessarily see it. You know what I mean? Like, no one's staring at you.
Well, listen, to your point.
You get dominated.
You would be surprised, Scalebender, how many fighters do not watch film.
Yes.
They leave it to their trainers. They leave it to their coaches. They leave it to everyone else on their team. They don't watch film. And I'm like, dude, how can you not watch film? You've got you got a fight coming up. Dude, watch film. Every fighter that you face has tendencies in the ring. You have tendencies in the ring. You've got to look at your
year, Joe. A year from now, you got a fight coming up. A year from now. You can watch film. I mean, I guess I'm saying he realized that he got clipped, right? I realized when the guy gets up under my pads, I'm fucked. I mean, I'm fucking, you know, I'm flailing. There's nothing I can do now. This cocksucker's underneath me. And I know I'm going. I'm on skates, right? So what I'm saying to you is, what you're saying, I understand, because I'm on the BDA show, right? And there's a guy on there named Jimmy who you grew up with Mickey Ward, right? So I ask him all the time, just this little inside baseball, you know, you're telling me no one's, Lomachenko's watching film. His dad's watching film. I don't know if Lomachenko's watching film, but those coaches watch tons of fucking footage. Then, you know, they cut film. They have a whole department for cutting film. You're right. Show me every right hand this guy throws. Show me every jab this guy throws. I can get the keys. So when it comes time to sit down with these players, I don't have to drag them through hours of film. I can just tell them what the keys are. What you know, and you have a scout team, like you have a sparring partner, and you tell the sparring partner, I don't care what you want to do. I know you want to get in there and, you know, you want to shoulder roll, but you ain't shoulder rolling. You're going to do exactly what Fury's going to do.
That's why they're paid. Absolutely. Look. This is why it's so important. And once again, you shed some light on this. Well, you're fighting in a year. Okay, maybe that's the problem with fighters nowadays. Maybe this is why no one has a chance of beating Canelo Alvarez at 68 currently, because they're not active enough. Look, in order to defeat and get the most of yourself in the ring, you've got to fight 3 or 4 times at least a year, preferably 5. Right? And if you're not getting the most of yourself in the ring. Look, you have to stay sharp. You have to stay active, and no one is active. This is one of the problems with overpaying your fighters, giving them inflated purses that don't reflect your market value. Then they're fine, just like Devin Haney getting an inflated purse. that is way above his market value because he's not a huge ticket seller. He's not a huge ratings draw. And this is one of the reasons why Matchroom Sport isn't sure if they want to re-sign him because he's not worth the $3 million guarantee per fight.
Yeah, it ratchets up the pressure. It ratchets up the pressure on these guys when you have to. I've had a bad day at work, but I work every fucking day.
That's right. I mean, look, and once again, if you pay these guys millions of dollars for tune-ups or soft touches, how much do you think they're going to expect when you try to make the best fights possible? Like, let me ask you this. Devin Haney made $3 million fighting Jorge Linares. How much do you think he would demand to fight Vasyl Lomachenko tomorrow?
Joe?
Twice that amount.
If he wanted the fight, if he didn't want the fight for some reason, not because he's scared, not because he's. I'm saying because
none of these guys are.
His management feels. His management is preserving this guy for what? That's my point. To what end? The structure is set up so that if he were to make that fight, okay. Number one, it'd be like they would take it as he fought his last fight on DAZN, right? He's gonna keep fighting on DAZN. But
you know what? I don't think he is. Like, in my opinion, Matchroom is going to ask him to take a pay cut because who are they going to pit him against? Okay, they've got no one at 35, 30, or 40. They've got nobody in those weight divisions. In my opinion, okay, he should sign with Top Rank, right? But in order to do that, he's going to have to take a pay cut. But he's got the potential of fighting Teofimo Lopez, Vasyl Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, Oscar Valdez, Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, all of these badasses, Jamil Herring. He's got this potential of fighting, being active for the next 3 years. All of this competition moving up from 30, all of this competition moving up from 35, all of these badasses sitting at 40. He's got an entire calendar filled. And it's best of all, it's going to raise his profile because more people are going to see it. Now, I understand that DAZN is a subscriber streaming network, and that's great, but it doesn't reach the amount of fans that competing on ESPN does. If Bill Haney has half a brain in his head, he's going to sign with Top Rank.
I agree.
He would be a damn fool not to.
Listen, he's a guy that makes the rounds and comes on these shows, you know. And if I happen to be on these shows, I don't argue with him, right? I don't argue with him.
There's no arguing. Look, my mom always told me there's no arguing with a damn fool. And I'll just leave it at that.
The problem is that okay, so you and I might have a different might have a different mindset with it. So I'm not going to flat out argue with him because I'm not expecting him just to make some big admission and fold under my question, right? But I asked him a couple of questions, not to be rude, but just to kind of nudge at him a little bit to let him know that, like, why don't you just calm down? You know, so you're his manager and you're the promoter. So how do you like, that's tricky, right? You know, and he's just like, you know, he gets it. He understands what I'm asking him, which is just cut the shit, calm down. You're saying you're a promoter, I get it, but everybody can be a promoter, quote unquote, if that means taking half the check, right? I can run this I can be a co-host on this radio show, right? If I just show up every week and just fucking log on. But how about the guy that has to fucking set the goddamn thing up and set up the whatever this is called, OBS or whatever that shit is? I can't do any of that shit.
Well, look, Scalebender, let me tell you, brother.
He ain't setting up no fucking promotion.
Just from listening to Bill Haney, and this is why I said, look, my mom always said, don't argue with the damn fool. And that's exactly what I would be doing if I had a discussion with Bill Haney about anything involving the business of boxing. You know what? This guy knows very little about
he gets quiet around you, though, Joe. He gets quiet around you. He would get quiet around you because he gets quiet around me when I start asking him questions that are not. I'm not really asking him the question. I'm kind of making a statement.
and I already know this. I already know this. Look. He's a promoter for tax purposes only. He's never staged his own event, and that's not the reason why he has a promotional license.
That's correct.
For tax reasons. Everyone who's been in the business knows this. And look, does he have any TV dates? Does he have the infrastructure in place to stage an event? No? Well, then shut the hell up about promoting. You're not a promoter.
He doesn't have a phone number for any of these arenas, any of the business of promoting. He has no contacts. I'm going to be a partner in the WAWR Week radio show. I'm going to take half the check. I'm going to take half the profit. I'm your partner. I'm your partner. I'm a co-owner of the radio show. That's it. Now, meanwhile, I don't know anything about this except for to hit the link and talk. That's my base of knowledge here. You see? So am I your partner? I mean, am I a co-host on the show? No, I can tell people that, and I can talk shit, right? I can talk shit.
And you know what? And you hit the nail right on the head, Skillbender, because that's all he does. Look, in my opinion, and once again, with all due respect to anyone in this business, but Bill Haney, you've run, like your level of knowledge and experience has run its course. Step down, brother. Step down. Be a cheerleader and be a supporter to your son, but hand over the managerial reins, hand over the training reins to someone who can escalate your son's career to the next level. Because I'm sorry, did you see the way he handled Devin Haney's first taste of adversity as a pro? It was amateur hour. He panicked. Yeah. Okay?
Yep.
That's the reality, man. Look, and once again, there's a reason why Bill Haney has gone through so many trainers in Devin Haney's career, in his son's career. There's a reason why he's gone through so many.
He don't want to let go.
Because no one wants to work with Bill Haney. Like, dude, he had the body snatcher as his trainer.
He's a rabid sports dad, is what he is. Yeah, I get it.
Oh my gosh!
Let me tell you, they're just sports dads. Right.
Yeah, let me tell you, Skillbender, it's a really big problem in boxing right now. So many trainers have told me that there are so many dads who have a hard time admitting that they don't know feces and they don't have the experience to properly teach their child. There are so many parents who think that they can just put a towel over the shoulder and all of a sudden they're a trainer. It's a big problem in the amateur and the professional level.
Gotta be. It's a problem. Hey, listen, it's a problem in life. You don't think football coaches have to hear these people screaming from the stands that don't know what the fuck they're talking about? I mean, you sit in the stand and watch your nephew play football. I'm sitting next to Vince Lombardi on my right, and I got fucking Landry on my left. I mean, you guys are fucking. They should have the headsets on, Okay, but you get out there an hour early and fucking warm these kids. You commit to it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's a huge problem in boxing, brother.
As long as you understand who you're dealing with, though, as long as you understand who you're dealing with, right? Here's the deal. Like, everybody got to learn their lesson, right? Everybody got to learn their lesson with the carrot and the stick. So, last time I spoke to him, he was bringing a trainer in there. Like, he was going to step away and so he could go run the promotion and bring a trainer in. Now, is that
the way it looked in his last fight?
No, he was in the corner. He was right there. No, it was him.
Yeah, and in my opinion, Ben Davison is not going to deal with that, right? He's not going to put up with. There's a reason why he walked away from Tyson Fury before his biggest payday, right? There's a reason, and I know this because Javen told me this. Javen, he told me that he was supposed to be a co-trainer just to help Tyson Fury in areas that he needed help in, that Ben Davison wasn't as proficient as he needed to be, right? Well,
say it again. Say it again. Ben Davidson.
No, Ben Davison. He was still supposed to be the head trainer going into the rematch. Okay, and this was just 3 months before the fight. Tyson Fury reached out to Javen, right? And Javen was just supposed to come on and be a co-trainer to help him in areas in which Ben Davison wasn't proficient. Ben Davison didn't want to have any part of that. So he said, you know what? If you're going to hire someone else, I'll stay in the UK. I'll stay in the UK and stay with my full-time stable of fighters, and in which I'm head trainer and sole trainer, right? And that's how Javen got the head training job. He said it was news to him, and all of a sudden, 2.5 months before they're supposed to fight in the rematch, he finds out he's head trainer.
Well,
yeah.
Does JD's have a license? Does he have a license in any state?
Oh, of course, man. Look, Sugar's a professional, man. He has a lot more fighters internationally than just Tyson Fury. I mean, this is a guy who, works with every promotional company and gets talent from every promotional company, right?
No, I misunderstood you. I completely got off track and I misunderstood. I got off the conversation somewhere. We're talking about Tyson Fury.
No. Well, we're talking about Ben Davison, and the reason why more than likely he's not going to stick with Devin Haney.
Devin Haney, right.
Once again, if Bill Haney is consistent, if he wants to be the star, if he wants to be the lead promoter, he's going to have a hard time, or a lead trainer. He's going to have a hard time getting any quality trainers that are going to want to work with him and his son. And in my opinion, that's a necessity if Devin Haney wants to escalate his skills to the next level. Because right now, and it was obvious in the Linares fight, he needs a lot of work on the inside.
Bill Haney is Devin Haney's manager, and I know that maybe someone else has that label, somebody else wears that title. He's not a promoter. Does not have the contacts or the experience to be a promoter.
No,
he does not have. He's not a trainer. Although, you got to keep in mind, he's been Haney's trainer and manager since he was probably 12 years old. Right? They probably both of them together. If it's anything like shooting is, like these individual sports that just, they both probably checked out of whatever their normal lives were when this kid was probably about 15 years old, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like they just went to the Catskills like Cuss and fucking Tyson. I'm saying like the school gets in, the school schedule gets changed around. There's no normal, like, you're missing things and then you're not going to things and then you're homeschooling and then, his works, whatever he does for work, it's checked out because you got to go on these tournaments and stuff. So I got to keep that in mind that you don't expect that guy to, but at some point in time, if you hire an attorney, you're getting counsel. It takes a level of trust. He still works for you. You're hiring the trainer, but as a manager, you're just trying to have your fighter's best. You're trying to look out for your fighter, best interest of your fighter, right? So that means backing off, and like to bring it to Deontay Wilder, right? His manager. I'm trying to call your attention and RTBAs too that maybe Deontay Wilder himself didn't even fucking. He seems like a little bit ignorant to any of this shit. You know what I'm trying to say? If he sits there with his headphones on and doesn't say a word at a press conference, I can't imagine he's going to look at this clip and demand that this kid be silenced. But what you said before, what I was trying to explain last night, I was trying to suggest maybe last night that, most likely it was probably the common denominator is Heyman. In that, look, dude, don't be talking like that. In other words, he got the word from, I'm just going to fill in the blank, Sam Watson, right? The poor guy is the only person that can talk sense into like 300 fighters. He's got a big task, right?
That's
he's going around like a fucking maniac, right? But he might have been the one that had to say, okay, that's the priority.
No. Look, I can tell you without a doubt 100%. And I can't disclose my source, or I can't tell you exactly how I found out, but trust me when I tell you this, I know 100%. It came from Team Wilder. They brought this to PBC's attention, Al Heyman and Tim Smith. And then they contacted Ben Thompson from Fight Hype.
I believe it 1,000%.
To take this down.
That sounds perfect to me, yeah. Sounds perfect to me.
And once again, their reasoning was they felt it was a detriment to the promotion of Fury versus Wilder 3. And with all the money that they have invested in it, they said they don't want to take a chance. They feel it's a detriment to the promotion of this event.
I believe
and so Ben Thompson did the sensible thing. And for some reason, he's getting a lot of backlash from fans saying, boy, you shouldn't have taken this down. Well, that's how Ben Thompson makes his money, from having access to all of PBC fighters and all of PBC events, right? This is how he makes money. And I understand it's a symbiont relationship that the promoters and the fighters need a huge platform like Fight Hype on YouTube that has over 1 million subscribers. But this is how Ben Thompson makes his money. It's a symbiont relationship. And so he said, hey, man, it's only one video. Fine, I'll take it down.
It's business.
And once again, what people don't understand is, guys, and they've been, oh, it's freedom of speech. You should have stood your ground. No, he did the right thing.
Of course.
Because look, we're reporting and talking about a pastime. We're not investigating a crooked politician.
It's business.
This is just business.
It's his business.
This is more importantly, this is the entertainment business. This is nothing serious. We're not reporting on Capitol Hill. Okay.
Yeah.
So
the thing about it is that people think that because, somebody can go film has a camera on their phone, and sometimes they're using those cameras to film these comments. They think that this is like fun. This is like not their livelihood when it's actually their livelihood. I mean, I can film somebody talking and put it on my YouTube channel, but nobody gives a shit. And I don't even give a shit to do it. That's why I don't do it. I don't even care enough to do it.
Hey, Skillbender, I'm sorry, brother. We're going to have to cut you short a little bit because my brother Brian is I promised him that I would give him a segment on this show. But thank you, brother, for tuning in. Please hang on. And thank you for all of your insights and your tidbits, brother, throughout
I feel your pain.
Last hour, man.
I feel your pain.
Thank you, my friend. God bless you, brother. Guys, welcome to the program at this time. Heavyweight fighter from Grand Rapids, one early, Mr. Brian Dancler. Brian, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing, my friend?
I'm all right, man. I'm actually in the car. I'm on my way to my son's practice, taking a lift, so excuse the noise in the background.
We were just talking about the Deontay Wilder, Chris Colbert situation. I was explaining why it's not that big of a deal, guys. I understood why Ben Thompson made the decision to take it down, and I understood why PBC felt that it might be a detriment to the promotion of Wilder versus Fury 3. And obviously, and look, I know for a fact that that's why it was taken down. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think fans are making too big a deal of this?
I really do. I think it's not as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. At the same time, I feel for Chris Colbert because you're supposed to have the freedom of speech.
Yeah.
But I think he signed the PBC too, right?
Yeah, of course. In fact, the big winner in all of this, Brian, is Chris Colbert, because now you have a ton more fans interested in his fight this Saturday night.
And I had seen, I'm on YouTube and all the time, and I seen somebody do a video saying that, if it wasn't intentional, this was a good idea by Chris Colbert, to try to get some of the, the clout off of the Wilder Fury situation, and it works out to his favor whether he intentionally did it or not. Just think you got to be careful. You got to remember that Wilder is PBC's biggest attraction. You know what I'm saying? So, they're gonna try to protect him at all costs. But at the same time,
in my opinion, though, Brian, this wasn't, and I know PBC felt that this could be a potential detriment to the promotion, and they have millions of dollars invested in this fight, right? In fact, I know for a fact that they have over $20 million invested in this matchup, in this event. right? And I understand that, but in my opinion, quite the contrary. It wasn't a detriment to the promotion. In fact, everyone is talking about this fight that's going to happen in 3 weeks, brother. So it was, in my opinion, it's all for naught. It's no big deal. I understand. I would have done the same thing if I were Ben Thompson. If I were asked by PBC to take down a video or to take down an article that I wrote, I would do the same thing.
Well, yeah, because he's probably going to need credentials, you know.
Well, that's how he makes his money. He needs access to these fighters, right? That's his bread and butter. But I tell you what, and once again, I spoke about this earlier in the show, and I'm not going to disclose this information because it's very delicate. But there are certain things that Wilder, did do in retaliation to this event happening, to this video, and it's quite alarming. In my opinion, Dancler, I think Wilder needs a psych eval before he is deemed fit to compete in the ring. And I can't disclose that info. I can tell you off the air, but I can't tell you on the air. I can't do it, but trust me when I tell you, it's quite shocking. Right? Do you think Wilder is in the proper frame of mind to compete in in 3 weeks?
Do I think so?
Yep.
Yeah, I believe he's all right, man. I believe some of this is for show and to sell the fight. You know what I mean? I believe he is, man. I think that a lot of people are, that Wilder's always been an animated guy, and he says off the wall things. I don't like. I'm a big Deontay Wilder supporter, but sometimes he says stuff that make me be like, huh? You know what I'm saying? Like I'll be like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be honest. I don't always agree with everything he says and he does, but one thing I can say for certain is, besides the Tyson Fury situation, most of the time he delivers in a fight. So I'm not gonna say that he is or he isn't. I guess we'll have to wait till July 24th to see how fit he is mentally to fight Tyson Fury.
You know what, Brian? I'll say this, brother. You may be right, because in my opinion, brother, and I mean this from sincerely, right? As a professional, I truly believe that Deontay Wilder doesn't believe any of these crazy allegations any longer. He just doesn't want to contradict his fans. He doesn't want to disappoint his fans that wholeheartedly support and believe this and have followed this narrative since his defeat. I don't think he believes it, and I don't think he wants to answer any questions. I don't think he wants to talk about it anymore. In my opinion, it would explain, one, why he's fighting in Nevada, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Why fight in Nevada again if you do believe that they were part of the conspiracy and part of the fix? And two, why is he working on making strategic adjustments if he felt the only reason why he lost was a result of being drugged or egg weights in the glove or any of that nonsense? In my opinion, he doesn't believe any of that nonsense any longer. He just doesn't want to disappoint his fans or contradict his fans the entire time, or from this point forward. Think about what that would do, right? It would be just like Trump. It would be just like Donald Trump telling his fans or his supporters, yeah, we really lost the election. They didn't steal the election, guys. There wasn't voter tampering. Think about that. They would be crushed. Are you still there, Brian? No, it looks like he's gone, brother. So I tell you what, we're welcoming back, and guys, we're only have about 5 or 10 minutes left. We're welcoming back Scalebender. What's up, brother? How are you doing, my friend?
Not good, but I'm happy to be here.
What's wrong, man? What's wrong?
You don't want to hear about this shit. But
well,
that's what I was.
Hey,
that's what I was trying to. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say earlier, right? Like, just the same way that you said what you said to him about the Zelenoff thing, right? at the end of the day, is like liability for him. You can't be fucking throwing full speed punches on. I don't care what the setup is or what the setup of the idea of the show is, where he talks trash to you and you get to beat him up. Fuck that. You don't want to get sued over this shit because this guy's a clown. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't get involved with shit like that. That's what you were trying to tell them at the time, right?
Of course.
You can't let people put you on tilt like that and then wind up in a lawsuit. So like,
that's right.
Okay. That resonated with him, right? Now, from there on out, basically you were cut off from him, but that's the job of a manager to turn him and go, he's right. Actually, he's fucking right, to be honest with you. So I'm glad it got through. I think, I don't care what he says after the fight, justify it however you want. A little bit irresponsible. But what has to hit home, what has to resonate with him is, you got clipped by a heavyweight. I don't care what heavyweight it is, what heavyweight it is. There's nothing in his glove except a fist from a 260-pound guy that hit you with full extension.
Yep.
And you never recovered. You didn't clinch. You didn't take a knee. You just kept taking a beating, and your manager did what he thought he had to do. So take a lesson from it, and I think he has. I suspect that he has. You know what I'm trying to say? Yep. In other words, if Malik Scott called him up and said, "Hey, man, like, if you need anything, I'm here for you." Oh, yeah, this, that. It's just fucked up. You had an off night. You get 2 day. It's a 2 day. It's a 2 day per year work week. That's the problem with these big layoffs. You see.
Yep.
You're gonna go to work once a year. Don't be sick. Don't be off. Don't have a fucking blood sugar drop. We have 365 days to have a bad day.
Well, in my opinion, and once again, despite being the self-proclaimed king of heavyweight boxing, right? This guy is not. Well, he's somewhat of a mental midget, in my opinion. And once again, I know this, right? I'm speaking from experience. In my opinion, someone got through to him, right? Oh, okay. Well, Skellbender's off the air.
I'm here.
Oh, are you there? Okay, very good. So, in my opinion, someone got through to him, explained the reality to him. Like, look, dude, this was your first massive global event that you've ever competed in your entire career. He had never, even though he'd been in some big fights, nothing to the scale of his rematch with Fury. That was a huge media global event. And in my opinion, he was suffering from anxiety.
There you go.
Right? He was suffering from anxiety. That's why he felt a little weak. He suffers from anxiety. Everything that he described, no, it wasn't a product of tampered water or the suit. It's a product of mental stress and anxiety.
It's a monkey on your back.
Okay, so he gets clipped behind the ear in the third round, and he's not able to recover. Same thing happened to Anthony Joshua in the Andy Ruiz fight. No big deal. It happens. Okay, you learn from it, you get better, and you come. So in my opinion, Malik Scott has been able to talk some sense into him. He understands the reality, but he doesn't want to disappoint his fans and contradict. Yeah, guys, it wasn't Glovegate. That's all nonsense. Because he understands at that point has galvanized his entire fan base, right? Could you imagine if he told his fans the reality? Yeah, guys, look, that stuff is just nonsense. No one cheated. That would be like telling your kids Christmas Eve that there is no Santa Claus and that it's been you putting their presents under the tree the entire time. They'd be devastated.
It takes effort. It takes effort to go back on what you said.
That's right. And in my opinion,
it takes effort for me to do it, right?
Wilder doesn't want to do that.
Who wants to do it? Nobody does. And his trainer and his management is probably saying, look, instead of devoting the time and the effort to make the excuses, instead of devoting the time and the effort to go back on them and explain them again, and instead of basically having the conversation that you or I are having with him. Let's get in the gym and work on the jab because there's no remedy. There's no remedy like success. Like let's just fix it physically.
That's right. Look, if he truly believed the only reason why he lost was because of his terrible accusations that he made, if he truly believed that were the case, why would he be trying to make strategic adjustments in the gym? He understands that it was a terrible strategy in his last fight. You don't sit and wait and try to counter a guy like Tyson Fury who's going to feint you to death and throw off your timing and rhythm. You're not going to be able to tell when he's going to come in, and he couldn't. He never was able to time Tyson Fury because of the disjunct upper body and head movement and that educated jab of his. Okay, so now they're working on throwing combinations on the inside. They're working on getting off first, right?
That's not going to happen.
Well, that's his only chance to make this fight even competitive.
Incremental.
He has to get off first.
Yeah,
he has to become the predator again in the ring. He has to try, even if it's not successful, he's got to try to win the jab contest. He's got to give Tyson Fury something more to think about outside of the right hand.
The jab is very effective when you're that tall. I mean, the jab is very effective when they're going to reach,
Yeah, well, look, he's got a good jab when he uses it.
Yeah,
and look, and also he's got to leave his emotions in the locker room. As soon as he gets emotional, boy, all that strategy and everything that they worked on in the gym, everything that should be now muscle memory, all goes out the window when he just starts trying to throw bombs.
Right.
First and foremost, he's got to be brimming with confidence, and he's got to leave his emotions in the locker room. 2, he has to try to win the jab contest and get off first. He cannot wait on Tyson Fury. And 2, boy, he's got to be the predator in the ring. You cannot wait and try to counter a guy like Tyson Fury. If he just does those 3 things, it immediately becomes a competitive fight.
How you see the fight going? In general.
Yeah. So
how do you see the fight going in general? I'm asking you. How do you see the fight going?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I cut out a little bit. In my opinion, I don't think he's mentally ready to be in the ring again with the guy who beat his ass in February of last year. In my opinion, he needs to have a psych eval. Unless he's brimming with confidence and is able to put this behind him, his first embarrassing and lone professional loss, unless he can compartmentalize that and put this behind him, he has no chance to win this fight. I don't care if you work the pads or look great in the gym. I don't care what you worked on. If you're not mentally right, you have no chance of beating a guy who's brimming with confidence like Tyson Fury, a guy who's a chameleon in the ring, a guy who can, pick your poison. How do you want to lose? A guy who can, control range from mid to long range. He can also beat you up in the inside. He can take the lead. He can actually fight off his back foot. He can use the entire ring. This is a guy who can make those kind of adjustments, right? Unless you're mentally right. And I don't think Deontay is, and I don't think he's going to be in 3 weeks. I don't see him having, put it this way, he only has a puncher's chance to win this fight, which is slim and none. So those are my final thoughts, brother. Your final thoughts before we actually get off the show, man. Thank you for being a part of this show, Skellbender. God bless you, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'll say this. We agree. There's no magical trainer. There's no drastic changes. There's incremental improvements. I don't think that Tyson Fury is this come-forward destroyer because of one fight. I've seen Tyson Fury fight his whole career. He fights like he fights. Been very effective. Deontay Wilder got clipped in the second fight.
Yep.
To think he's going to bob and weave. Yeah, to think he's going to bob and weave is too much of an ask. I think this fight's going to go like the first one. And Tyson Fury is going to box, and Deontay Wilder is going to wing that right hand just hopefully a little more responsibly. I got a draw. I'm buying a beach house after this fight with a plus 2,500 draw. Thank you. Oh,
Wow.
and that guy from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah, I think the first fight's about who these guys are at their best. I mean, I think that first fight is exactly who each one of these guys really is. Right? I mean, at the end of the day, I don't expect a Tiger to change his stripes. And the guy you had on before, if you talk to him again, if you're up in Grand Rapids, tell him I'll meet him at the Bob. That's a downtown spot. The Bob, Grand Rapids. I go there twice a year. Grand Rapids. I love it.
Right on, brother. Well, thank you for being a part of the show, Skillbender. God bless you, man. But that's going to just about do it, guys, for this episode of WAWR Week Radio Afternoon Chats. Happy Friday to everyone. Please be safe and have a wonderful weekend. And guys, don't forget to tune in tomorrow night to Showtime to see the replay of Gervonta Davis versus Mario Barrios, as well as Chris Colbert defending his, minor WBA title against King Tug, Naim Bayar. But that's going to just about do it, guys. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.